Lights and Gear is back with a flashlight review. I have a new Astrolux light to talk about today, and this is a special new Astrolux because it uses the Anduril Firmware. And I'm always having to apologize, or feel I have to if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But this is the EC01, and it comes in this very minimalist type of packaging box here, as most Astrolux lights do. And it comes wrapped up in this lovely piece of bubble wrap. So in the box, you get the bubble wrap, which is around the flashlight, which is right here. Very nice looking light, about 5 inches long. And you also get this little packet here, which has a couple of spare O-rings and a lanyard. You also get the user manual, which is right here. It's a very big manual. It's all in English, and there's a lot to learn, or a lot to know about the light. Here's a little quick start section right here on the diagram, but that only tells part of the story about the EC01. And also in the light is this adapter tube. If you'd like to use an 18650 battery in the light, they do recommend IMR or INR, basically unprotected batteries of high drain. So you can use this to put an 18650 in if you desire, and then inside the light. But the intended type of battery is a 21700, and of course they are thicker than an 18650 and more powerful. I do happen to have one in the light right here, and again, INR is this particular one, with good high drain of 45 amps and high capacity. So this is the type of battery which they do recommend that you use inside the light. Basically inside you do get, well, at least in the cap, you get this nice big spring here, which does accommodate both flat tops and button top batteries. And there's also a nice big spring inside the head of the light. So up in there is a nice big spring as well, which makes good contact with slightly different size batteries. Now the firmware on this is actually the same as a recent light that I reviewed. This is a Lumens FW3A. This is an entirely different type of light, which has 3 LEDs instead of 1, but it uses the same firmware as the Astrolux does. So there are a lot of things in, well, things that I may not mention in this particular review, you'll probably be able to see if you watch the review of the Lumens, since I spelt a lot of it out in a little more detail in that particular review. But be that as it may, you can put the battery in, of course, and tighten her up. And there's good threads here on the end. They're actually a little dry, so I'm going to have to put some, going to have to lube these up a little bit. And a nice O-ring there on the end. It's also USB rechargeable. Here's your USB port on this side, which incidentally is a USB-C, so it will not take a standard charging cable. You do have to have a C cable to charge it with. They do not furnish one, as you can see. And have a, I believe, no, oh yeah, I've got a C right here. So the C end is obviously different, of course, than the standard. And as soon as you plug the cable in with a battery inside the light, this will illuminate in red, and it will stay red until the charge is finished, at which time it will be a solid green. You can see examples of that at my written review at lightsandgear.com. So the Astrolux EC01 does a lot of things, and it can be changed in a lot of ways. It is a customizable flashlight, but it comes with the default setting, and you can use the default setting perfectly well if you desire, or you can change it and play around with it. The default setting, well, first of all, it has 2 different user interfaces. It has a smooth ramp and it has a stepping ramp. And the default, as you can see right here, is the smooth ramping. And that's where you simply press the button to turn it on, press the button to turn it off. While it's on, you can press and hold, and then it will start to ramp up. And you can press it again, and it'll start to ramp down. And it'll go all the way down to the lowest of the low down here. This is actually a very nice LED, which I didn't mention. It is an XHP50.2, and It's a super LED, and you can see the orange peel in here, which gives the beam a nice uniform, it just makes the beam nice and uniform. So there's a combination of flood and throw on this. The top lumens, by the way, there's so much to talk about on this light. It just gets, you sort of get lost in knowing which direction to go next. There's your LED discussed here. The top output is 3,500 lumens. The throw on the maximum is 298 meters. And it explains the other functions or the other features of the light down here. There are several blinking modes. There are 2 sets of blinking modes on here. I did describe them in more detail on the review of the LumenTop light. But there are 2 sets of blinking modes. The first set has the battery check and the sunset goodnight mode and the beacon mode. And then it also has the temperature check, so you can check the air temperature around you when you're using the light if you don't have a thermometer. And there's a configuration mode for that if it doesn't blink out quite correctly. And to check the battery, by the way, you just press the button 3 times. And you can do that, or you have to do that while the light is off. And 1, 2, 3 just goes like this. Oh, wait a second, the light was already on, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there it tells me the battery is about 4 volts. There was a little blink after that. So the battery is in good form right now. So that gives you your basic battery voltage. Click it once to turn it off. The dial here, or the switch, the switch is a little bit illuminated, as you can see right here. And there's also a setting for this as to whether you want the switch to be illuminated when the light is off or whether you don't. So you can turn that off, and you give the flashlight 7 clicks, and then it'll give you an option, or you actually have to do it a couple of times, because you can set it to 3 different settings. You can set this to be off, you can set it to be on low, which is what this is on now, or you can set it to be on high. And then what it does is, even as you turn the light on and then ramp up, it goes brighter. So the brightness of the switch sort of mirrors the brightness of the light. So when the light is on high, this is much brighter here. If I was to go down, then it goes down as well. But anyway, there's the setting here, so you can have it off when the light is off if you want. Right now I have it so it's on low. And to change, actually, whatever I did a couple of minutes ago, this actually changed the UI over to the stepping mode. And that is changed by, you change it just by pressing the button 3 times while the light is on. So right now it's in the stepping mode. And if I press and hold it here, you can sort of see it stepping up and down. Just like that. Instead of a ramp, it's doing a stepping. And you can set it to how many steps you want. You can change that setting and do as low as 1 step or 2 steps to as many as 15 or 20 steps. So the default is 7. So with the configuration mode, you can just keep changing all this stuff. And even in the ramping mode, you can set it to be as low as the lowest it will be, which actually it already is by default. And you can change the high, the turbo, to be about 20% higher than what it will normally do in the default on the ramping setting. So you can change that. But if you want, and then if you want instant turbo, you just double click, and you can do that at any time, anywhere. And I believe that actually gives you the full turbo output that way. So if I double click, I'll get to instant turbo right here. That is so bright against the white wall, it's almost blinding. So this is turbo as I just got to from a double click. And if I was to press it here again, it'll just start lowering itself again. And this is on the stepping mode again. So, and then if you want to, if you want the instant moonlight, you can also get to that as well. I haven't actually checked that setting within the stepping setting, but I believe it does the same thing. It actually works a little better if it's in the ramping mode. So I'll turn it off, actually turn it on, and then press it 3 times. Now it's now back into the ramping mode right now. So if I turn it off and then press and hold for about 1.5 seconds, I'll get instant moonlight. So that's what I have right here now, is instant moon. And that also does not change the memory portion of the light either. I can go to moonlight like this, and then turn it off, and then turn it back on, and it'll be in the same last setting it was in before I set it to moonlight. So it doesn't lose its memory in that sense. Within the flashing modes, as I said before, I keep remembering things that I sort of haven't talked about yet, but I feel I should just at least mention them in passing. In the flashing modes, I talked about the first set, but then in the second set, you have all the sort of like the party modes. You can do a candle mode. You can do a bike flasher. There's the party strobe. There's the tactical strobe. And then there's the simulated lightning storm mode. So all that is available within the second set of flashing modes. Now over here, you also have a momentary mode, which you can set it to, in which the mode will be on in only one mode and only illuminates when you press the button. You can have a muggle mode set up, and this is basically for allowing someone else to use the light who's not as proficient with flashlights as you might be. So you can set it for that, and that means they won't start a fire because it only goes to 240 lumens, and it only ramps. So it's a very simple user interface for someone to use who doesn't know the first thing about flashlights. And it also has an electronic lockout. So at any time, well, you have to be in the off position and then click it 4 times. It blinks, and now it's effectively locked out. And the only thing it will do is a momentary moonlight. So as much as I press it here, that's all I'll get is moonlight while it's locked. If I press it 4 times again, 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll blink, and now it's unlocked, and I can use it as I did before. So I think you can get an idea of how versatile this light is. It just can do an amazing number of things, or it can be as simple as you want just by leaving it to do what it does when you first turn it on out of the box. So that, in a nutshell, is the Astrolux EC01. Oh, let's take it outside. Yes, indeed. Almost forgot to take it outside, so I do apologize for that. Let's take it outside and have a look at it in the darkness. And there you go. So the folks at Banggood were nice enough to supply me with the EC01. There is a link below in the description here if you'd like to pick up one from them. And if you'd like to see more outdoor beam shots, I suggest you check my written review at lightsandgear.com. And you can see more of that there and read some more descriptions on some of the special features of the light, which are in more detail there, and the link is also in my written review to purchase one if you desire. So that's the Astrolux EC01. I'll accept questions and comments, of course, below if you'd like to talk about it a bit further. And it's just a very overall amazing kind of flashlight for all that it can do, or for as little as it can do if that's what you want it to do. Thanks for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time with more from lightsandgear.com.